let's talk about why we're all here today. And so we've got a wonderful topic for today, and I'm joined with two of our dear friends from North Pass, but we're going to cover how to double down on CS without breaking the bank through customer education. And I think everyone, especially in this economic climate, is very interested in anything that does not require us to break the bank. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friends Ariel and Norm from North Pass. And welcome, guys. Thrilled to have you today.
Hi, thank you so much for having us. We're really excited to be here and to get to talk with all of you and help you understand how you can grow your customer success organization without really going back to breaking the budget. And we all know we're in really interesting times right now economically, and it's definitely something that at North Pass we really understand. We just want to help people understand how digital customer education specifically can alleviate some of those concerns, as well as realizing that it's not as scary as it sounds. I think that's a big thing that we get is people are a little bit nervous about it, and we're gonna talk today about alleviating some of those nerves. And Norm is a team lead for our customer success team. And so if you want to introduce yourself.
Of course, yeah. Well, it's great to be here with everyone. We'll try to give as good of a webinar as Client Success gives a conference because they have amazing conferences. So, we have a run for our money here. But yeah, it's nice to meet everyone. My name is Norm. I work with our largest and most technical clients here at North Pass, and I've also come from the sales side. So onboarded even our smaller clients. And so, yeah, I've learned a lot about where people are spending more money that they can alleviate that earlier on in the process. And I'm hoping this will be educational so that, digital customer education isn't this fearful, oh, I have to go ask for more money thing, but you can start doing it now on a smaller budget.
Wonderful. Well, I'm thrilled to sit back here and take some notes. So I'm going to go off screen, off mic. And so I'll be manning the chat. If anyone has questions, I'll be there to help it engage. I will let you guys take it from here, and let's get started.
Okay. So if you guys just bear with me for a second, I'm just going to get these slides up in your face. So just so we are going to try and get through a lot in a very short period of time. So please, if you have any questions along the way, pop them into the chat, and we'll answer them. Put your Q&As in the Q&A box as we're going along, and we will definitely get to them at the end. Any questions that we don't get to live, we will definitely, we will answer them via email afterwards if we can't answer them all live. I know that that's really disappointing when your question doesn't get answered on a webinar. We're going to definitely try to get to all of them. So what we are going to be really discussing today is strategies for just getting started with digital customer education. Really tips to get leadership buy-in and how to talk to leadership and have that conversation. Things to look out for when you're actually choosing an LMS platform. And these are a little bit more interesting than you'd think. And then content creation strategies that won't take too much time. We hear all the time about, I don't have content, I don't know where to start, we don't have enough content. What type of content do I need? So we're going to answer those questions for you. And then tactics for promoting your academy, because that's also a big one. You put all this work into Customer Education Academy, and you have to now get people to use it. And so we're going to talk a little bit about getting that started. And then everybody's favorite KPIs and metrics that you can use to measure your success. And then obviously we'll end up with Q&A. So to get started, why digital customer education? Why is this something that is so important? And we just touched on it. A big reason right now is understanding the economy, where we are right now, and understanding that CS teams are really looking to do more with less. And one of the things that we really like to share with people who are interested in digital customer education is it's not only just about giving customer success teams back their time, it's about helping your customers onboard better, having them learn new features better, because if you think about it, in today's day and age, right, we can, learn how to cook on an app. We watch a YouTube video to figure out plumbing. We we think that everything should be interact with right there and then. We don't want to, if we're just signing up for a piece of technology, you don't want to have to wait to schedule to schedule a meeting with your CSM for a week from now. We want to be able to give as much, get started as quickly as possible. So there's a lot of different things that go into why digital education. Norm, do you want to add to that in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. Ariel, your audio is cutting in and out. So I think it should be fine now, but please guys, if you can't hear me either, I'll be monitoring the chat and I'll make sure that we get clear audio here. Anyways, I think to sort of, for anyone who missed what Ariel was saying, right? Digital customer education is a way to, really build out your knowledge, your customers' knowledge of your platform, of, the culture of maybe a company or something like that, without, investing in all this crazy big software, or without adding more headcount, right? So a lot of the goals that my own customers are trying to achieve is, how can I not just keep hiring CS leaders when I get more clients? And so we'll go over all of that. I think one big sort of paradigm shift I want to talk about is, this isn't about investing in something new. It's just about reapproaching all your content and all your documents and help desk and all that stuff from a different mindset. We're all doing digital customer education in some way. It's just we're all doing it in a very decentralized, non-contextual way. And what we hope to get across today is, helping guys move towards bringing it under one umbrella, under one maybe department, whatever that may be, and really just focusing all of that disparate content into a strategy to help your own customers be better users of your product.
Yeah, exactly. And so just so you guys know, I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi situation, but if it's, definitely figure out, if you can't hear me at some point, let me know and I will, I'll definitely repeat myself, say it again. So moving on, getting started with digital customer education is something that a lot of people that we're dealing with at NorthPass are starting. We are talking with a lot of people who have never interacted with a learning management system before. They've never done customer education digitally before. They've done a lot of one-on-ones. They've sent out ebooks and PDFs. And so what we're going to really cover today is, how do you actually get to that starting point? And, that's something that we're going to, I think one of the things that's really important to talk about is, are the common challenges. And so why are people worried about customer education? Is one, they have a small team, or you're doing it yourself. You're a one-man band. You don't really have a lot of internal resources to get you there. And then figuring out, what do you even need to get started? Lack of resources. So whether that's, you don't have a budget to create lots of content, you don't, your content team is maxed out, you're maxed out. And so there's a lot of different types of resources that could really be stopping people. And then a big one is imposter syndrome, right? Understanding that you can do this, even if you've never done it before. This is something that every person can do. And you, especially as, a customer success professional, knows how to do, and you're doing it on a daily basis. And it's just trying to understand, how do you get from point A to point B? So, Norm,
I would add to that is that I think we just talked about a little bit, but for for sake of brevity, it was just easier to put lack of resources. We'll go over this in a little bit, but it's actually a perceived lack of resources. I bet that you all could put together a number of customer-facing educational resources together on a learning management platform or on a digital customer education platform. Right now, it's just like I said, thinking of it differently and approaching it in a way that'll be best for your customers. So yeah, I think what we want to talk about first is leadership buy-in, right? And this is the not so subtle elephant in the room, because what we usually think of with leadership buy-in is that, oh, well, I also have to ask for money, but that's actually not the case. So when we talk about leadership buy-in, really, it's about approaching your director, your senior director, your CEO, wherever that may mean for an organization, big or small. It's approaching, the conversation in a right way. So we'll show you a couple ways that you could do that. But there's some really major points that you can bring up to your leadership team that would be interesting to them, that communicates value and also communicates, saving some cash. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Ariel.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to.
Sure.
There we go. Put these. Oh, let's go back. So there's a lot of different ways to approach the conversation. Definitely understanding that, scaling the team and understanding that that's something like from the leader's perspective, who you're talking to, really understanding where they're coming from and what their concerns are, and taking it from there. And Norm, I know that you wanted to, there are a lot of things that you wanted to, to customers, and they're really struggling with whether or not it's how to have that conversation. What's sort of like the
Yeah, I'll cut in here because I think Ariel's audio is cutting out now. So just what she was asking is touching on that first point is, what do we do with all these resources? How can we scale the team without headcount? So here at NorthPass, what I've done with a lot of my customers is, while we have an implementation team, I'm actually getting into the weeds with them on day one, sending them a couple of courses that we've created on how to use the basics of the platform, as well as where they should start sourcing any of these pieces of content. A lot of this might happen in the sales process as well. I heavily advise our sales team on how to prepare people for when they finally are ready to start building content on NorthPass. So what happens now is where we might have a full implementation manager and maybe a support, then the actual CSM and all this tech support and stuff like that. We actually start our implementation, hit the ground running, so to say, because my clients have already done a number of courses in NorthPass. Maybe they've won or gained the how to build course content certificate, and they've done all these things before we've actually started implementation. And this just leaves them in such a better place. That means they're actually moving through implementation faster, better prepared, but that also means our support tickets are way down. There's not any of those, during the honeymoon period where they're so excited, but they're asking all these questions and it's going in 1,000 different directions. It actually helps them stay focused because everything is in one place. Sure, they might want to go to the support docs as well or our API developer docs for anything more technical, but for really the basics of understanding NorthPass, they are going straight into the academy and doing that on their own. And so we're actually able to, without making it impersonal, still help folks learn about the platform before we actually, spend time in meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah. So there's a question that just came in through the chat that is, what's the thought on this approach for teams that are so small they only have a client success team? And so having just a client success team, you don't need a separate customer education team to do digital customer education. I think that's the big key that I think a lot of teams and just a lot of people are I think nervous about, or just don't that's the thing that's stopping them, or saying like, well, I'm not a customer education expert. Say a lot of people doing customer education, my digital customer education is so great, is you don't need to be a customer education expert to be able to start a customer academy and start doing digital customer education. I think you have all of the tools in place, and we'll go through the conversation. We'll touch on a few different things that will show you why and how you can do this without having a separate team, and just someone taking the initiative to start putting these things together on your existing team is something that, that can really spearhead it.
Yeah, and Morgan, to your question as well, our team, we're not an enormous company, and so I work closely with our support folks, some of our technical folks, to help manage both the academy and our support docs, and then our engineers handle the developer docs. And so with a team that's really small, what we recommend and what I see in my clients is look at as many data points across your success team, and what's one that maybe is getting out of control, or one that's higher than you'd like, maybe an ROI or a KPI you never hit. For instance, I have a really clear example from one of my clients who really just wanted to minimize the number of hours their success team was doing training calls and how-to calls with their, it was just taking up too much of time with each of the clients. They implemented NorthPass, and after just 1 year with the contract, those hours spent, on one-on-one or one-to-many calls with the clients was already down 25%. And now we're looking at how can we get even more of their customers into the platform a little bit more smoothly, which, might go to Andy's question of driving engagement. So yeah, I think it's starting to look at your data points. I'm a big data person. I think that's a good place to start, but we can get into that also in a little bit.
Okay, so when it comes to actually, choosing an LMS, there's a lot of different questions to ask and things that you're going to be thinking of and struggling with making that choice. And so we're giving you just a few of the questions that we hear all the time and that Norm hears all the time, and some other things that you should know, just so that you help make the right decision for your company and your situation.
Yeah, and I can, I'd love to hear if other folks are asking these questions as well. If these resonate with you, please, drop it in the chat. And if not, I'll touch on oh, Daniel, good question. A learning management system is an LMS. Sorry, an LMS is a learning management system. But we're going to sort of start flipping that on its head, because that can bring about, the thoughts of like HR training, compliance training, the sitting there and clicking through, just trying to get through it. So, your HR team doesn't come bearing down on you. What we have sort of changed with our, proper LMS, but really a digital customer education platform or engagement platform is we really focus on customer education. So from onboarding to new feature releases to engagement and teaching your clients how to use the product better. We are focused on your customers getting more ingrained and contextualizing all this information from marketing to support, and not usurping the other platforms, but starting to bring it into a central location that has data and that you can really track your clients' behaviors within the platform. So yeah, I think the biggest question I get, especially with our largest clients, is I don't really know what kind of content is going to resonate best, right? And I work with a lot of instructional designers, and it used to be that as long as you keep the videos under 3 minutes, it'll be successful with your clients. Well, in the modern day and age of everyone being able to Google and get whatever they want really, really quickly, we're finding that videos have to be under 30 seconds, which means we're making really modular, small pieces of content. Video is always going to be the most popular, but sometimes we have actually clients that create two types of pieces of content, one that's video heavy, one that's text heavy, and letting the client choose, right? What's going to resonate best with them. That is a really interesting behavioral insight to see where most of your clientele fall into. Are they going towards the videos, or are they going towards like text type resources? I think another big thing that we ask is like, well, where's my data? What kind of data? What's important? A lot of our clients are first-time LMS buyers. And we have some benchmarks and some important metrics that we communicate with them, but really we're working together in tandem in partnership through our QBRs or even more frequent meetings to go over data, what's trending, what's not trending, what courses are popular. And we'll go into data in just a little bit, but the where is important as well. It lives in NorthPass, obviously, but we are really just focused on getting it out into your system, connected to the rest of your tech stack, because that's the only way you're actually going to track things like what I spoke about earlier with Morgan. How can we reduce the number of hours we're in front of a client? How can we reduce churn? How can we increase upsells? We need to start attaching behavioral insights to the more black and white monetary insights. And last but not least, how do they access my company's ecosystem, right? So are your support docs behind a login wall, or are they open to the public? Are you guys using SSO? Do you want to embed, our most successful customers embed NorthPass directly into their app? And so there are a lot of ways to handle this. And, we want to be flexible because what's going to work best is what's best for your clients. And you guys are the experts on that.
So moving on just to things to know. And I think, Norm, again, like this is such a great thing that, we talk about internally, which is like learning management system is the wrong term or word to use. Digital customer education platform is going to get you when you're looking for the right tool for your company to train their customers. That's the word. That's the phrase that you should be looking for, because you're going to get stuck with a learning management system and a lot of employee compliance training, HR related tools, and they're just not going to be customized to customer education.
Yep, 100%. Just to make a small anecdote or quip here too, I was never the best student, so even the word education starts making me sweat a little bit. And so this is also, a stereotype we want to push away from. Education is engagement. It's understanding the product, being more closely tied with the company's mission, all that stuff. It is not taking a test that gets you all, nervous and that you'll never get the right answer for. We want to build your certification program so that people proudly say, I am XYZ certified, and it's on LinkedIn, and people are pumped about that because that's, ties into marketing as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think something also that might be important is understanding that if you really are searching for an education platform, an LMS, whatever we're going to use, we'll stick with education platform, is understanding the service level of the vendor, because there are tons of solutions that I have absolutely no issue with, but that I do know that it's they give you the keys to the car, and you sort of know how to drive, how to put content in there, what data you're sort of looking for, but that's about it. And you're either paying for more or anything like that. Especially for first time buyers, you really are going to want to look for a company that's gently holding your hand and leading you in the right direction. We often say this is a journey, especially for the first time buyers. And knowing which road to take, or when you hit a fork in the road, having the experience from other clients from a variety of verticals is really important. And so you're going to want someone who can be aligned with you as much as possible, at least for the first couple of years. And then as you grow and get your sea legs under you, then sure, maybe you can go about it on your own. And a lot of our clients do need that, and then do that as they grow into more mature programs.
Yeah. And thinking about like the look and feel. So that's something that's so important to a lot of people. And I think as branding becomes more and more, people are understanding it in a more common way, is you just expect everything to look and feel like your brand. And that's something that if you want your customer academy and you want your learning experience to be 100% fully ingrained with every aspect of your brand. And if you've ever, had a conversation with your design team, that how important that is to keep that continuity throughout every touch point that your customers embrace in their journey. This is one thing that you want to look for a company that can help you do that and do that easily.
Like I said before, some of them are my most successful and satisfied clients are embedding directly into their app. So when they are in the app and they click Academy or they click Learning Portal, whatever it is, it doesn't look like they've ever left or that it's being hosted somewhere else. We do our best to scrub our branding from it because we're not the center of the show. We want you guys to be in front of your clients. I see 2 questions. I don't know, Ariel, do we leave? It's not in the QA. So do we leave it till the end or do you want me to answer them now?
We'll answer those at the end. I think we'll definitely keep going. Just because I just want to be mindful of time, and I just want to be able to get through the material, and we'll definitely they're really good questions, and let's just move on. We'll answer some. So, like I said at the beginning of our call, is that a lot of people are looking to build an academy for the first time, and content is like the number one thing that is standing in their way. So, okay, you can buy a tool to help you house your academy, but you have to put stuff in there. And that's something that is, if you haven't done that before, or you're not a content expert, you're in CS and you're trying to work on it, there's lots of things that you can do to get content quickly. So first of all, you got this. Even if you have a 1-person team or a small team, and I know a lot of people on this call are just sort of thinking about how can I do this? And it might just be you starting this initiative, or you have 1 or 2 people on your team that are starting this initiative together. The first thing you want to realize is that you have more content available to you than you think. You want to look to your sort of external resources. You want to look at your company blog, at your knowledge centers, ebooks, webinars, sales decks, any piece of content that you've made that's for your customers or for your audience to understand what you do. That's a really good place to start. You really want to go and say, do you need to make this like really high, really like high touch experience at the first go? No, you want to be able to say, okay, I have this one problem. We have this one problem, this one data point that we're missing the mark on. And I think creating a course around this is going to improve it with this group of people. You can take all of the information that you have and, and go from there. Really reach out to all of your, you reach out to all of your teams. I know you don't work in a silo. You work with a large group of people who have tons of knowledge, and you go from there. Like anytime, so I run content marketing at NorthPass. I'm not just sitting there writing an ebook or writing a blog in my own little head. I go and I talk to Norm and ask him questions, and I go to our product team and ask them questions to explain how a feature works. It's a team effort, and you might be the person project managing this, and you might be the person that's ultimately responsible for making everything, but you're not doing this alone, and you have a lot more at your fingertips than you think. Now, this is a bit controversial because I get fought on this often, especially when you're starting out. Quality isn't everything. You really can, there have been, and I was just talking about this earlier today, that there are companies that if you go on their LinkedIn page, it's literally some person holding a phone out and talking into it, and people are listening and people are watching. And there's no longer the need to have everything be this beautiful, cinematic, perfect thing. Throw a GIF on there, you can combine, right? You don't have to have a full 45-minute video course chopped up into 3-minute sections. You can use video, use PDFs, you can combine it all into creating a course. And then you can iterate from there. You don't have to have the 100% version on the first go. The second thing, or the third thing that we talk about internally all the time, and our company's been a bit obsessed with ChatGPT and all the other AI tools that are out there. We talk about it all day. It's become a joke at our company at this point, because there's so many people here who are super excited about it. And really what we're using AI for is to generate ideas. That's such a good one. If you have a topic, be like, hey, what are 5 different subtopics of X topic? And you can help it build out. You can have it say, hey, can you outline a course for this? And it can help you do all the nitty-gritty details that you might not be thinking of. If you're creating a video and you need a script, but you're not a writer, it can help you outline a script. And just really what I've found that it's really helpful with, it just helps you create more faster. It's not doing the job for you. It's not going to take, you're not going to be able to just put an idea in here and have something pop out, and you're not going to have to put any work into it, but it just helps you get to the endpoint faster. So don't be afraid to use it, and go from there. So once you've have one course, you can launch your academy. It doesn't need to be this like HubSpot Academy where you have thousands of courses and everything is perfect. They've been doing this for like 10 or 15 years already. And I know that's what everyone looks for, is you see some other company's academy and it's perfect and it's beautiful. Don't be scared about what they're doing. You can start promoting your academy from the first course. You might say, I want to have 3 courses before I promote it, whatever that is, but it doesn't need to be fully built out. But when you do have that academy and it's ready to launch, you need people to get to it. You want to shout it from the rooftops. And the way to do that in an effective way is to make a plan. Don't just sit there and say, okay, I'm going to send out a few emails and I'm going to do this. Actually sit down and make a plan and understand what that looks like from your launch to adopting the academy and every time you build out new courses. So keep it going. It's a living and breathing experience. Your academy is constantly changing, constantly evolving. So understand, like, at what points in your evolution are you going to make announcements about it? You know, if you can, and you have, you know, somebody on your marketing team, get them involved, have them help you write the emails, have them create a social plan and integrate the academy into their social media plan. You're not alone in this. Even if you're doing this technically by yourself, there's so many people around you to help you do this. So also just use all the tools. Don't just think one thing or the other thing. Think of every way you could possibly get your message out there and use it. Even like the little banner, you know, on top of your website, if you have a banner that you can toggle on and off to say, oh, a new course launched in our academy, like put that on for, you know, for a week or however long, to drive more people to it. Excuse me. And then also enlist all customer facing teams. Say most of the people on, just based on who we're dealing with here, most of the people on this call are customer facing teams. Use everybody in your organization, use your sales team and get them excited about it and have them talk about it to their customers. And to a customer academy is something that excites prospects. So have them use it and use all the tools that you have and all the people that you have in your company to help you make this a success. And so to sort of start winding down, I think one of the most important things that everyone is really looking for with the Customer Academy is how do you reach your goals faster and better through using digital customer education. I'm going to let Norm take it from here, and I'm going to pop these up.
Yeah, I typed this number of different ways, and I think this sort of, you know, succinctly, you know, compartmentalizes a lot of my conversations with clients. And so I think there's 2 main aspects to your metrics and KPIs. For like, we talk a lot about first-time education buyers, and I think the hardest thing is their leadership wants to know the ROI before they've even begun. So how can I ever know that? I don't even have, anyone going through the platform yet. And so we try to, at least offer you 2 routes of data so that you can start proving ROI really, really early. So first and foremost, learning goals, right? So all this, these folks going through activities and courses. I think someone before asked about ensuring that people are looking at videos. We have an engagement metric called the drop-off rate, and it'll show you where people are leaving courses and why, we then look into that activity and why they might, leave a course. And so it really depends on what your learning goals are, right? So if you're coming from a more marketing focus, so you're looking at acquisition, you're going to want to look at course enrollment. Who's clicking on what course? Who's going into which course? And then that activity drop-off. Who is leaving a course halfway through? Engagement. So this might be for active customers, renewing customers, or even folks at different stages of their customer journey. And so we want to see how many courses they've completed, their average course completion, and even their the most popular course. I have a really interesting anecdote from a client who's they looked at their support docs, and their most popular support doc was the least popular course in NorthPass. And so we're actually A/B testing that course with a couple other titles and different ways of showing the content. But people are going to go to different sections of your ecosystem for this information for different reasons. That's why you need to have this wide net and variety. And then general, right? So average course completion rate, 70% is roughly the national average. And this is a metric I discuss with my clients a lot, is looking at all their courses and what is that average completion rate. So now we want to go to the business goals, right? And this is where you're going to really be able to prove ROI. This is also why we connect NorthPass to maybe your data warehouse or somewhere else in your tech stack, so that you can start correlating and putting this data together. So you want to be able to see, is there a decrease in maybe tickets per customer since you've implemented the training? Our CSM training meetings or hours spent, billable hours, however you guys might measure that, is that going down? And then churn or contractions, right? Are people asking for less discounts, or are they just saying, hey, we're going, away altogether? And then, with increase, I think there's 2 more points under that as well. Are you seeing an increase in webinar attendees? This is a big metric for folks with academies. They want to drive traffic to their webinars. And so now their attendees are coming in better prepared. Are you seeing an increase in renewal rates? And then are there more opportunities for upsells and cross-sells? And are they actually executing on that? And so, Terry Lynn, I see your questions, and yeah, we'll get to those in just a second. Really, really important questions there. So we'll be sure to touch on that. And so there are, there's metrics all the way down, as we well know. So these are the big ones that we want to focus on, but we'll also look at your own and us as a company, me as a CSM, we will be as aligned as possible with your company, because maybe these aren't the ones that are really important to you. Well, let's deliver the right metrics, and we want to have that flexibility, because we know every one customer and everyone's customers are going to be completely different in their needs. And so being able to stay nimble and have data readily available is going to be super important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I know that we threw a lot at you today. And we see there are so many questions in the chat, and we're definitely going to try and get to all of them. But at the end of the day, before we jump into Q&A, realize that it's easier than you think it is to get started. And you don't need as big a team, you don't need as many resources. And there are some real, true, measurable business impacts that you can bring to leadership and say, this is the problem that we have, and this is a solution that can help us get there. And this is how we can do that. And that's how digital customer education is making a difference on CS teams, helping them, generally speaking, scale faster without adding headcount. And that's, something that really is true to our hearts at this point. In the economy the way it is now, it's helping just teams grow and do better, and helping CS teams just be able to be more strategic and improve retention by being able to have really deep conversations with customers and understanding their needs, and more than this is how you use this new feature. And so I think with that, I think we could just jump into the Q&A, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can see our faces during the Q&A versus staring at this beautiful slide.
It is a beautiful slide. So
It is.
All right, well, look, it looks like most of the questions were redirected to the chat, which is totally fine. We'll just need to scroll up and go through. And I know that you answered some of them throughout the session, but we might want to just scroll up. And I think anything after 1:18 p.m. should have questions beneath it.
So at 1:18, I answered Morgan's question. She said, thank you. So I think Irene is the next one. How do you ensure that customers are actually watching the course customer education resources you're sharing, especially if they're already used to one-on-one engagement? Irene, this is like a delicate dance. I'm sure your CSMs are also getting maybe support questions that should be directed to support. So just like anything else, a gentle redirection, or even just offering that this is available. There are plenty of great resources in NorthPass's Customer Academy. If you came to me and said, hey, I have this question, I'm not just going to say, go to the Academy, right? Like it's all about that CS touch just building that culture that it's available. And it may take a couple tries. It absolutely did when we first launched our Academy because they were so used to this one-on-one service, but any good CS team will be able to have a plethora of resources for their clients. So, sometimes it's better just to answer the question directly, and sometimes it's better to offer them a different resource. Cool. So Emma then asked, is that okay, Christy? I'm just going through one by one, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is your jam. I'm here to just make
Cool.
sure that you're getting to everything, and anything you don't, I will copy and send out.
Perfect. So Emma is asking, I work in the service industry, IT, curious how to implement this. A lot of our value is having techs working with users. So can you see a way this would fit for us? Actually, I want to like name all my clients, but I know that's probably in bad taste. But I have one really technical client. They teach, a lot MS SQL and these Microsoft focused, tech resources. And so really similar use case. They're not a standalone platform. They are almost like an MSP. But what they were finding is that their CSMs were just answering too many questions, and you can get really show a lot of technical things in each one of their courses. And so, happy to connect, about this later, but I think from a technical standpoint, we underestimate the value of letting a tech figure out this information on their own, because maybe sometimes they need to just see someone coding in front of them, right, with a terminal there, and that's the 10-second to 30-second video versus reading through some documentation. So it really depends on the issues that you guys are facing, but we've seen really complicated technical people go through some courses as well. Caroline, at present, we're moving towards in-app. Oh, yes, I love this question. So yes, NorthPass absolutely offers SSO. We have a special type of auth type called restrict open access. I don't need to get into too much of the details now, but essentially we can embed into your app, whether mobile or web, and pass users, emails and stuff into the app. So that when NorthPass opens, they're already logged in, they have a really seamless experience, and then we blacklist the Academy from being seen anywhere outside the app. So you're essentially using SSO, you have user-to-user data, and you don't need a super complicated SSO setup. Absolutely the most popular for anyone embedding. And we can go through some more details later. So let's...
Carolyn.
Yes.
Yes, a couple of questions, but they're very much related, and I actually think their answer is very similar. Which is, so the question is, how important are conventions when you're creating course materials, naming, format, look, feel, etc.? And then also, how do you create successful courses, materials for constantly evolving products and new features? So this is something that I was actually talking with Courtney Sembler, who's the director of HubSpot Academy. She's phenomenal, obviously. And I think she said it so simply, which is just like organization is number one. So with naming conventions, you want to be able to know exactly what content you have and exactly what type of content you have. And so it's really, is it important? Is it going to having different naming conventions for different courses or types of content? Is that really going to make or break anything you have? It's not going to, but it's going to help you know what you have and be super, super on top of everything that you've already created and everything that you need to create. And then also, like, if you have things that, like, I think brands at this point like evolve every couple of years. And so eventually content has the old look and feel, and you need to update it to the new look and feel. Understanding, like, having it could just be just like a spreadsheet of how you have, you know, how you actually have what what you have, what's the old branding, when was it published, what content is actually involved. And that kind of goes into your second question, which is knowing exactly what type of content is in each course that you have, what product features you talk about, will help you be able to, when you relaunch an update on a product feature, you know that you need to go and update these 3 courses because it mentions that product feature in these 3 courses. So it's really just like being like super hyper vigilant about being organized with your content from the start. And if you're doing it from the beginning, it's going to make it so much easier than after a year's worth of creating content. You're like, oh my God, I need to go back and like figure out what's in everything and how do I organize it and need to change it. So just be that organized from the start.
And I can also say sort of more practically to like some NorthPass features specifically. Everyone is trying to teach about their app, right? And so they are always having updates and they need to update about these updates. So we just have some really easy ways to replace content. How you might publish the course and the new material, who it should go after, who it shouldn't. So just having that like flexibility and functionality. But that's also why I think the shorter videos are becoming so popular among administrators as well, is that it's way easier to switch out a single 30-second video than trying to cut into a 2-minute video and splice it the right way and all that stuff. So let's see with these courses. Yeah, so I mean, it could be for both, really. I have plenty of clients that do internal training, but we really focus on customer education. We think this is where the future of these types of platforms are going. And so whether you're using multi-auth or you use multiple instances with NorthPass, oftentimes it will grow into internal training because you're seeing the value from customer education. You're like, well, I should teach, marketing folks about the product because they don't get to use the product as often or whatever it may be. So there's absolutely multiple uses for this, Emma.
Yeah.
And is a feature set enough to bother create? Oof. Okay, this is what I usually tell my own clients. So we have this publishing feature that you can reset course progress for everyone. So they all have to see the new information. And then this sort of like silent type publish where you'd only see it on your next go around, or so if it's grammar for me, if it's grammar, or if it's just small, maybe the color of a button, that could be, depends on the company, but grammar or anything sort of tiny, it's not a big feature. It doesn't require more information. We say update it and just silently push it out, and don't make us think about it. If you are releasing version 2.0, or it's a major update, or there's breaking changes to anything that your clients were doing in the past, then we say make a reset everyone's progress, make them go through it again, make it almost like a mini release to the release that Ariel was talking about before. And I think that is that's going to be really up to each client, but it's a really common question. Carolyn, I love that one.
Okay, so I think we've gone through all of the questions. Norm and I are really easy to find online, so you can definitely reach out to us on LinkedIn if you have any other questions. We're there. We'll find you. You can find us. Reach out just to NorthPass on LinkedIn. To be very honest, I answer a lot of those questions too. And so we're always available to answer any questions you have about customer education, whether it is about NorthPass or just in general. We're happy to answer those questions to help you make the right decision for you and for your company. And thank you so much for giving us your time. I know it's really valuable to sit here for an hour and listen to what we have to say, and I hope you gained a lot from it. And Christy, thank you so much for hosting us and having us be here. We really appreciate it.
Wonderful. Well, I just want to thank you both for taking the time to join us today. Really valuable content. I was taking a bunch of notes behind the scenes, so I'm excited to go and work on some of the things that we've got brewing here at Client Success. But hopefully everyone enjoyed the content today. As I mentioned earlier, this session was recorded. We're going to make sure that we do get it out, so you don't need to worry about that. If you had to leave early, if a colleague or friend couldn't make it, don't worry. Everyone who registered will get a copy of this. Please go follow Ariel and Norm, connect with them on LinkedIn. Lots of great stuff out there. And if you guys aren't thinking about customer education right now, I do highly encourage you to do so. It is something that we're taking very seriously here at Client Success. It's a huge value add to your customer base. So please go explore NorthPass, go see what it could do for you and your business. But again, thank you both so much for your time today. Thank you everyone for joining.